A decade ago, Argentina's economy collapsed and the country defaulted, as CNN report that default came with a price.
December 2001, Argentina declared the largest debt default in history, $100 billion. The move ushered in an era of utter chaos, 5 presidents in 2 weeks, deadly riots, and dire poverty. Argentina's enormous debt load, high public spending, and overvalued currency had brought it down, burdens similar to those now carried by Greece. Many have suggested recently that Greece follow Argentina's lead and default and devalue. While Greece's future remains murky, Argentina's recovery over the past decade has been remarkable, with its agro-based economy expected to expand 8% this year, but that growth has come with a cost: inflation.
The government insists that we only have an 8% inflation, but we all know it's 25%.
Veronica Amsing shops daily at the suburban Buenos Aires supermarket. She recently received a 20% increase in her teacher's salary, but still has had to cut back.
We used to do barbecues every week, and it's no longer the case. I mean, meat has gone up tremendously. And also dairy products as well, like milk and cheese.
The Argentine government has been repeatedly accused by economists, investors, and the International Monetary Fund of underreporting inflation data.
La empresaria sube.
Shop owner Rafael Aragona says when food companies and suppliers raise their prices, he has no choice but to raise his too. He's convinced the government is lying about inflation. So while the exact level of inflation in Argentina remains unknown, what is known is that the Argentine government has worked to silence those who report on inflation statistics. They've subpoenaed information from journalists and levied huge fines against analysts. Orlando Ferreres is a former Argentine deputy economy minister. Earlier this year, the government filed criminal charges against him and fined him $235,000 for publishing inflation numbers that contradict the official stats.
It's strange for us. We don't understand very well the idea. Also, a population could check easily in the supermarket the price of goods. Then all the population knows that the inflation is about 23–25% or more.
Those numbers would give Argentina the world's second highest inflation rate. But aside from at the supermarket, inflation seems to have had little impact politically. President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner was re-elected on October 23rd with 54% of the votes. Her biggest challenge in the next 4 years will be not only to stem inflation, but to restore confidence in the statistics the government uses to measure it. Brian Burns, CNN, Buenos Aires.
We now take our second break. Sports is next.
Of a land, of a people, where communication has been our song, our drumbeat. We sing with hearts full of joy. We dream of a better future, one that is upon us now. This is who we are. We are close to the heart of the world. We are as old as time. The soul of man began with us. We are Africa.
Welcome back. Gambians Tuesday morning woke up to the news of the sacking of the national team coach Paul Pot. The Belgians' 4-year contract was terminated by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. News of the head coach's sacking comes on the back of a string of poor results in recent African Nations Cup final qualifiers. Babcock Senghor looks back on Paul Pot's 3-year reign as coach of the Scorpions.
Patrons and patronesses from various walks of life congregated at...
We apologize for bringing you the wrong report, and before we go to sports, we shift our attention to the weather report courtesy of the Central Focus Office.
The baobab tree provides good food in times of hunger, whence it's bad for medications and it's sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company. In all aspects, in know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton, side by side with the Gambia.
Hello viewers, welcome to the weather segment. First, we begin with the summary followed by the forecast. The day today was mostly cloudy over the entire country, and to know what prevailed over the rest of the continent, we take a look at the image captured at 16:30 hours, indicating the presence of spots of convective clouds over Gulf of Guinea states, dense over the central and eastern part of the continent. Elsewhere remain dry and stable during the period. For the forecast tonight, we were expecting partly cloudy conditions to prevail over the entire country, and the day tomorrow will also be partly cloudy and warm. Winds will be mainly southwesterlies in orientation, but generally light to moderate in speed. For the minimum temperatures, we were expecting 25 degrees Celsius over Banjul and Jundum. Kerawan and the rest of the country will record 24 degrees Celsius, except for Basse and Fototo, which will be 23 degrees Celsius warm tomorrow morning. For the maximum temperatures, we'll be expecting 29 degrees Celsius over Yundum, 30 degrees Celsius over Banjul, 32 over Kerawan and Sibanor, whilst Jinoy and Kawur will record 33 degrees Celsius. Sapo and the rest of the country will be 34 degrees Celsius warm tomorrow afternoon. For those going to the sea, we'll be expecting a low tide of 0.56 meters at 10 a.m. and also 0.67 meters at 10:04 p.m. For the high tides, we'll be expecting 1.53 meters at 03:46 a.m. and also 1.29 meters at 04:42 p.m. For the waves, we'll be expecting 1 to 2 meters of height, and there will be northerly swells. The sun will rise at 7 in the morning and will set at 18:38. We now take a quick look at the international forecast. Thanks for watching, and do have a very good night.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. Gambians and non-Gambians alike have been taking turns to sympathize with the first family on the demise of the First Lady's mother, who passed away in Rabat, the Kingdom of Morocco. Top health ministry officials and disaster management experts recently gathered to deepen their knowledge of reproductive health in humanitarian settings, gender equality, and data management. Officials in debt-saddled Italy are scurrying to find solutions to their country's worrying debt burden, which stands at a staggering over 2 trillion euros. And financial experts are drawing parallels between Argentina of a decade ago and Greece's current sovereign debt crisis. You can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website, that is at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio live. That brings us to the